All right, exciting day. Finishing up, got all the letters of intent in by I think it was 12:37 was when the last one came through, and what an incredible group. We were able to finish up, I believe, number one non-Power 5 recruiting class in the country. Was able to address a lot of different needs throughout our football team. We came in to this class wanting to increase our size, to become bigger, faster, and to be able to attract a high-level playmaker that could come in at a variety of positions and to address some immediate needs. And I think you look at our class, things that stand out is the offensive line. That was a major priority for us. We wanted to get bigger at tackle, and you'll be able to attract guys that could come in and be able to compete for starting jobs, immediately. And I thought we were able to do that. You look at the defensive back position. That was a major area of I guess concern in a sense of graduating 7 guys and needing to bring in a top quality class of guys that can contribute right away, but also build with a good young class that can develop and also provide quality depth here early in their career, which was exciting. And then just throughout the class, top to bottom, the type of young men that we were able to attract. I think it was the first time in school history we had 3 4-star players. I don't know the final number of 3 stars, and at the end of the day, I don't get too caught up in all the rankings. I think it is a tremendous compliment to the level of athlete that we are being able to bring, but the competition that we're facing and going up against, in some of these recruiting battles is incredible. And I want to definitely take this time to thank our staff. They were phenomenal throughout this last year in building relationships and identifying needs, and then did a great job with their evaluation of the prospects that we were able to get. Our everybody on campus, our professors, our academic support, just everybody involved, that our compliance, it's a lot of people that go into place whenever you look at these official visit weekends, and being able to put on and showcase all the great things that Memphis has to offer. I want to thank the city of Memphis for the support that they have provided. I think you look at the Liberty Bowl and the things that have been done there, and the enhancements on the exterior, but also with the interior. The recruiting room was huge. It was something that on game day, it totally changed our game day experience for high school recruits, and when they came on campus, and you were able to utilize that for official visit weekends, and was a true highlight for us. The community, the support. You sit there, and I think we average, whatever our average attendance was, I think we're in the mid-30s for the football season, and that's big for prospects. They want to see that support and the excitement for the program and the direction that we're going, and it's been phenomenal for us there. And when this class is going to be a class that's going to be talked about for a while, I think that the overall level of talent that we're able to bring in is going to show up immediately, but it's also going to be one that for years to come is a pretty special group. And so really proud of our coaches, proud of our players for the job they did, and when they were hosting the young men, and I really believe we found an incredible group that fits our program, and continue to build our Tiger family.
Earlier this morning, we were at East, and we talked to Tim Taylor. He said that he's excited to be playing at home, but one of the main reasons he committed to the school was because of you and your staff. Why have you guys been able to have such extraordinary success here in your career? What do you think the secret is?
Yeah, I think we love building relationships, and Tim was a young man. He was actually the first school that I ever went to. As the head coach was at East High School, and I remember walking through the door, and Coach Wimberly was remarkable in his embrace to our program and the opportunity to recruit East, and he talked about this young man Tim Taylor. And I'll never forget watching his film. I was sold on Tim, And then when I had the opportunity to meet Tim, he came to one of our first junior days, and we spent a lot of time together. And after I got to know the young man, I was all in with Tim Taylor. And I think that, the excitement you see in athletic ability is one thing, but when you get to build a relationship and get to know, what makes each one of these prospects go, that's where recruiting becomes such an enjoyable experience. And I think the success we had is attributed a lot to those relationships. And it's fun when you get to see that all finalized today with those letter of intents coming across, and to hear the joy for these prospects.
A lot of coaches poo-poo rankings, but obviously is there a point of pride that you are the number one ranked non-Power 5?
No question. I mean, I think when you look at rankings, some of them, you'll see highly rated players that don't play up to their potential. You'll see lower ranked players that exceed their expectations, because you also have to be developed. You also have to be put in a position to be successful. But there's a reason why guys are highly ranked. Everybody has the ideal measurables that you want to try to recruit to each position, and so sometimes ratings are based off of that, and then sometimes it's based off just pure playmaking ability. And so I never look at a rating before I evaluate a film. That doesn't matter. I don't look at what offers a kid has before I decide to offer a scholarship. I know it kind of gets old hearing a little bit, but I truly look for young men that fit what we're trying to do. And then as we get to know them, is this a young man that I see that could come in and be a part of our family here and have success? Because you could have the highest rated recruit in the world, but if he doesn't fit you, it doesn't matter. And if they're not going to embrace the family atmosphere that we have, then they're not going to be happy, and they won't be successful.
Mike, you're obviously ecstatic with the class with all these guys, but could you highlight a few of the players so folks out there watching this or listening to this will know a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easy to start off with the guys that are really well known nationwide. I mean, Obina Eze is a guy that. Goodness. I mean, to attract a tackle that's 6'7", almost 300 pounds, a phenomenal talent. He had every offer in the country, and he really, and a lot of them pursued him all the way to the very end. But he understood what he was looking for, and he controlled this process. And we were fortunate that a lot of things, married up. I think Coach Silverfield did a remarkable job going into the Nashville area, and being able to pull a couple of the top players, from that city here to Memphis. But it was because of the relationship, because of the opportunity, and the academic piece of wanting to study international business was a huge supporter of why he chose Memphis. And so everybody was involved in that. I think him, T.J. Carter, at the corner position, was huge as well. Another young man from Nashville, as a guy that we think is number one corner in the state of Tennessee. A highly rated player, but I think that he could have been rated even much higher than what he was because of his playing ability and the drive that he has. You look at the defensive front. I'm excited about a guy that was really not as highly, didn't have as many accolades coming out, but Desmond Hawkins, was a junior college player out of Hines Community Colleges, but is from Craigmont, and he's a guy at 6'5", 290 pounds, is going to come in immediately and provide us with that size that we were looking for, and I think can help us with our overall depth up front on the defensive line is big. Mikkel Hill, Tanis Joseph, two other offensive linemen that are going to have an immediate spark within our program, I think, and excited about getting them into the mix. And then Dre Thomas out of Jackson, the quarterback. My goodness, I don't know, might be one of the most explosive athletes I've ever watched. When you sit there and you look at what he does on the football field, and then if you ever watch him play basketball, I was looking at a couple of his basketball highlights. I mean, he is a special athlete. I think has got a huge upside, but is an incredible young man. And so it's hard to single out just a handful because we are excited about the entire class. I think when you look at overall, it was a remarkable group of young men that came together, and it's going to be a special group to watch.
Like the Nick Robinson saga, he obviously committed and decommitted. Take us through that.
Yeah, Nick is was a young man that came out in the summer and fell in love with our program. And he had many options. When the day he committed was completely shocking to me. We had a wonderful unofficial visit. It was great. We laid out a plan of how he could be showcased and how he would fit within our here at Memphis. And about 3 or 4 days later, he called and decided to commit. And as that process went through, he continued to get a lot of interest, and he did not want to be a prospect that was committed while also still shopping. And so he called me and he asked me, he said, "Coach, I'd like to explore a few more options. I believe Memphis is the best place for me, but I don't want to do this in a way that is not respectable." And so he decommitted. We never stopped recruiting him. We actually encouraged it. I have a lot of respect for, you have a 17, 18-year-old young man. It's hard to make that phone call that he made. But we stayed after him. I think Coach Dillingham did a tremendous job in developing that relationship as well. And I can tell you there was a lot of dancing going on whenever he called and recommitted, because that's a big human being that moves exceptionally well, and I think he'll be a phenomenal Tiger.
I know you've only been here somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 months, but what does it say about this program that just a few years ago, this kind of recruiting class wasn't even, it was a pipe dream, if people want to be honest, and now here you are, tops in the American, tops outside the Power 5 in your first year as you go in here. What does it say about where this program has come from?
It's exciting, and when I took the job here, I believe this is a limitless opportunity. I mean, it is incredible the support that we have. It's incredible the excitement that you feel, here in the city of Memphis. Everything in Memphis is progressing, and I am all in with that. I love being a part of this community. I love being able to. It's not hard to recruit a kid to Memphis. It's exciting. I mean, the brand of football we try to play is attractive to guys, and I think when you see that progression and where we're going. Last year we had 1 month, and I had to sell a vision. Kids had to almost take a leap of faith, and I believe we had one of the top recruiting classes, in the school history last year at this time. Now they've seen it in action. And, when we get a young man that steps on campus, I don't give them a sales pitch. I think sales pitches are everybody can provide them. I open my heart, I show them what truly matters to us, and there's some good, there's some bad, but it's truly who we are. And at the end of the day, when these guys get on campus, I want them to know what they're coming into, and that's what I think sets us apart, because we truly are doing it with the right reasons, and then we're looking at the best young men that fit what we're trying to do.
To follow up on that, once upon a time, people thought that you couldn't do. You can't get kids out of Nashville. You can't get kids out of places in Tennessee. You can't compete with the SEC. Is that something that you're just not going to listen to? I can't.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason. I think we've proven that you can, and I think we've proven that we will. And so. We have a long ways to go. We're still at the, building and creating our foundation of our program. We talk about to our players that we've done some really good things, but we need to climb. We need to continue to grow. We need to continue to progress. Last year when I came in, we talked a lot about the next step. Is that there's been success, and we just wanted to continue on with that success. We were able to do that at a high level, I think, this past season, but it's not we didn't get to where we want to go. And so just like in recruiting, just like what you're going to see in spring practice, just like what you're going to see with summer work and getting ready for the fall, is now it's time to climb. And I think that this class shows where we're going, and what it means for the next 2, 3, 4 years is exciting for me. It's exciting for the future of our program, because we are attracting kids that quite frankly the university has never had that many of. And I think you look at Obina, he's the highest ranked player since D'Angelo to come through. I think D'Angelo worked out pretty well, and hopefully we got guys that are going to be in that same 10, 15 years from now. They're going to remember this day, and the group of young men that joined our program.
When a kid commits to a school, it's a 4 or 5 year commitment. What have you and your staff told these kids about your long-term plans and commitment here?
that we're excited about the future. That there's, this is a place that, I truly feel the last year of my life has been the most comfortable, enjoyable experience that I've ever had in football and being involved with a program. And so, we're excited about where we're going. And I think, do schools try to use, what if this, what if that? That everybody's going to say that. All I can do is you come to work each and every day and obviously provide the best atmosphere, the best environment for our players, and trying to build them and support them. And our university is stepping up and doing the same for us. And it's going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to build. But I think the sky's the limit for what we can do here at the University of Memphis.
Two long snappers.
Oh yeah.
What was why two long snappers?
Oh, we're excited, being able to bring in that the quality and then the competition of it. You look at situation. We had a 4-year starter at long snapper that Trevor Morgan was his name, and you sit there and it's pretty good not to know the name of the long snapper because usually nothing bad has happened. And so we want to continue that trend, and I think being able to get Connor and Preston, you'll hear a part of the program is something that's great. Being able, I think. It probably should have been my first answer. That one of the key guys to this signing class, almost as important as anybody else, is Riley Patterson. Riley is a guy that, in case anybody's wondering, Jake Elliott was pretty good. He had a pretty good career here, and that's a big set of shoes to fill for Riley coming in as a newcomer. But boy, I love that young man. I love his his mentality. He's an athlete. He's very similar to Jake. Jake was a great tennis player. Riley's is a great soccer player. Is always competitive. Riley could have went and played collegiate soccer if he wanted to. But he's hungry to be the best that he can be here as our place kicker. And I think he was the 4th-rate kicker in the country, and we are sure glad to have him.
Like, it seems like National Signing Day is the best day to look at the future. You talk about taking the next step was your mantra last year, your team. You guys were in the running for a conference championship toward the end of the year. Is that the high water mark? Is that the only goal as you set out for 2017? Is that you're looking to win the American this year?
We want to continue to climb within our program. We want to take steps forward and progress. And so, I think the way that we work, our guys, of course, want to continue to grow to being competitive and winning championships. And to say that is that the ultimate goal of what we're doing? We're working towards it. And I think it is a process. I think that we've got a lot of incredible players that are coming back and being a part of our program, and then we're adding some pieces that I think will help. But we're still a ways away from where we want to get to and where I believe we can get to. But that's why we're working. That's why our guys are busting their tails each and every day, and why our coaches have been working the way they've worked on the recruiting trail, because we know what it's going to take to get there as well. So we're definitely progressing towards that. Yeah, I kind of addressed a few of them. Like the offensive line group, I think, are guys that, I think all 3 of those guys will come in and have an opportunity. I know we're returning, a lot of guys up front, but, I love competition. And I think that the quality of guys that we brought in, I think we'll have an opportunity to compete. You look at, the variety of different positions, the 2 quarterbacks. I know that right now I'm pretty confident Riley's going to be our starting quarterback next year, and, he's earned that. But, right now I don't know who our backup quarterback is. And so to be able to bring those guys in, how they come in, where they're going to be at, they're going to be competing from the backup position from day one. And so it'll be interesting to see them. Obviously, the guys in the defensive backfield will have to come in ready to play. Being able to get 2 junior college players was big. They're going to be here this spring. They're already going through workouts. Sanchez Blake was big, being able to have him here. I think he'll be a guy that can work to contribute for us. And then, we're going to be able to see how guys come in and transition. J.J. Russell was another young man that, you don't want to lose. He's here on campus. That was one of the biggest I would say, gets for our program this year, because he had he was committed to an SEC school for a long time, and then he had another SEC school come in the final week and chose to be a Tiger, and it was a battle. I thought Coach Lanning did a remarkable job with JJ's recruitment, and he truly fit our program, and that was something that was exciting to be able to see him jump in and be a part of, and he will be a special player for us.
Mike, in general terms, I would imagine you're very happy with your relationship with high school coaches in the area.
Oh, yeah, I tell you, that's been one of the best things. And, I think anytime that somebody's new to a job, they're going to talk about recruiting locally. I think that's on the head coach manual. That's what you need to say. But, I told all coaches, and much like I told our football team, don't listen to what I say. Please watch what I do. And, our first day in spring, and our first 2 days in spring recruiting, we hit over 100 local high schools, just so that they saw Memphis. We've opened up, we've got, during spring ball, we do the coaches' socials, every Tuesday. And, being able to get guys on campus to get to know who we are, I think is big, because relationships matter. I'm never going to ask a high school coach to tell his player where he needs to go, but I want him to tell him about me. And if he doesn't know me, if he doesn't have that experience, then what kind of advice is he going to give? What sets us apart? If he knows that he can send his student athlete to a place where they're going to be taken care of on the field, off the field, in the classroom, challenged in all those areas, I feel pretty confident that we'll get a good recommendation, and then it's up to the young man. So I think that's been one of the best parts of being here is the high school coaches and the relationship that we do have.
So you used the helicopter this year. What do you use next year?
Well, I'm saving that one up for the administration. They're not. The administration might get a little nervous whenever I bring out the next one. So no. I tell you, it's funny because that's been something that's been pretty incredible. And like I remember the first time I talked to Tom about taking the helicopter around, he looked at me like, "You want to do what?" But we made it happen. And we're able to go, and I thought that was just a great experience. Daryl and I were up there, looking at each other, just weren't quite holding hands, nervous, but we were pretty close. And so, but it was so neat because we're flying around our city, and to see when you land at a football field, and all the eyes, the parents, the players. The plays are going on, and kids on the sideline are looking up at you. That's what it's all about, because they know Memphis is coming to see them. And that it's not about me. It's our university, our brand. We know what the importance of our city is, and the type of players that we have within this community. And then the RV. I think that was huge. Being able to do that, and you pull up to a home, and you got a full-size billboard sitting in front of your house. So every neighbor knows, man, they are here for us. And, man, there is a special opportunity. And, I thank the administration for allowing us to be able to do things like that. And we're going to continue to be creative in ways that can continue to build our brand.
There's a proposal to add another sign period in December. I'm curious if that has been in place this past December. Would that have changed kind of how you went about assembling this class?
There's going to be some challenges that happen. That's going to occur here in the future, I believe. And we have the junior college sign-in day, and there's going to be a good number of kids that will probably sign at that point. But the things that makes you a little nervous is it's before that fall semester is even done when that signing class is. And so there's going to be things we've got to evaluate. Most of the kids will have played their senior years and be done with that, maybe by exception of a couple of championship games. But, I think it'll be good, but it will definitely change the dynamic of who we're going to try to sign there early, and then, also, make sure that we're able to evaluate all the way to the end. And so that's going to be an interesting change for sure. Oh, I tell you, Connor is a guy that is you're looking for a sleeper in the class that I think has a huge potential. Connor really, I know it's kind of funny to say, but Connor reminds me so much of Riley. And you sit there, he's a rhythm passer. He's a guy that he only started 1 year in high school football. He changed schools, and so he wasn't able to play junior year. And so he came in his senior year to Hewlett-Trustful, which is one of the top programs in Birmingham. Coach Floyd and I, he was, I've known him since I was actually a player in college. He's at Shiloh Christian, a former great player and coach there. So we had a prior relationship. And Connor, 1 year starter, threw for about 3,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, a guy with a huge ceiling, 6'4", 200 pounds, but was kind of an unknown. And at the quarterback position, if you're unknown in your junior year, there's not a whole lot of people that have opportunities there late. And I think having that opportunity presented us with a chance to get him and truly evaluate him. And I'm very excited about what he brings. He was a 7A state player of the year in Alabama, so pretty good.
We didn't have a chance to ask you about how the staff changed around that, specifically Coach Dillon promoting him to a full-time member of the staff. Can you just talk about what he did recruiting-wise? I know he was involved without being able to travel with a lot of these things.
I think Kenny is an incredible coach, and he's been with me we're going on our 4th year now, and he was a phenomenal offensive coordinator at the high school ranks in Arizona. Did a tremendous job there, and then joined our program looking for his opportunity, much like myself many years ago. And he's come in and he knows our offense as good as anybody. He's an extremely sharp mind when it comes to the X's and O's, but he has a passion for young people and developing those relationships. I think he went 95% of the recruiting year sitting right here in this office, and he was able to attract a number of guys from Oklahoma City that maybe had never considered Memphis a realistic option, and we were able to sign 3 guys from there, and really probably could have had a couple more if we had more room. But when our class filled up, it was we had to make some tough decisions there. But I thought Coach Dillingham did a remarkable job.
Coach, you mentioned the helicopter and the RV, and you're big on Twitter and stuff like that. You're a younger guy, but is there a sense now that you have to do some different things as you approach signing days and recruiting now? It's not that, it can't be old school thinking or anything like that. Is thought into having to do things a little bit different?
Yeah, I mean, we want to showcase our university in the best method possible. I don't want to be a gimmick, and so it's not about what can we do to just be different. It's about what can we do what showcases the values of our institution, what message we're trying to get across. There are certain things I will not do in recruiting, or I won't do when it comes to social media, because if it doesn't fit in the core values of who we are, then I don't want to be a part of it. And so I think once again it all comes down to relationships. I love advertising this university. I love that being a key resource for us attracting top quality players. And so if we can do things that kind of fit within that mindset, then I'm all for it.
Word is to actually take a couple of days off.
I'm getting lost here tomorrow, so yeah.
About that, because for you guys, it's been such a grind for so long. Do you even know how to flip the switch off for the next few days or a week?
Well, it's funny because Sunday was our last, I guess, live day before dead week this week, and on Sunday we had probably 18 or 20 of the top juniors in the state and western, kind of western Tennessee surrounding area in the region, and so we've already got a good jump start on this next year's class. But it's you're always moving. You're always trying to grow, and it is a grind. And I mean, you sit there and you think of the time that's spent away, from family when you're out recruiting. You think about the time you spend away from your players here while they're here training and getting better. It's good to get back and to be able to, I guess, cultivate those relationships, and from the time that you spend away from, to be able just to be back and kind of be still for a little bit. But unwind that's a good thing. Yeah, it's but it's fun. It's fun to be able to get away, and so I'm going to take a few days, and then it's right back at it, getting ready for spring ball, and continue to move forward.
Coach, this class was able to bring what type of energy in this class into the mix of truly Tigers?
I think it should bring a lot of energy. I think this class is another example and another mark of where we're going. Do I expect every player in this class to come in and be an immediate impact? No, I don't. But do I think that every one of these players will have an opportunity to build the foundation of who we are and where we're going? You're dang right I do. And you look at last year's signing class, I thought it was one of the highest in school history, highest ranked in school history. And one of the things I'm most proud of is the quality of players that we were able to redshirt, because now they have a year within our system. Coach Storms has done an incredible job with especially some of the young defensive players that we have. That's exciting for me. And right now, guys remember them on signing day last year, but they are totally transforming their bodies. They are improving, and now they understand the atmosphere and the expectations of what it takes to be a Tiger. And now I'm looking forward to seeing their experiences as they get on the field and be able to help us. And much will be true of this group and as we continue to grow and build off that.